Some mods are just extra content. Others fix bugs, add weapons, or polish the rough edges of a classic. But then there are the rare ones, the projects that go so far beyond what mod even means that they feel like their own standalone game entirely. Whole new stories, new lands, new factions, new systems, even new identities so strong they eclipse the original title they're built on. These are the passion projects, the multi-year labors of love that could have shipped as full releases if the devs slapped a price tag on them. And if you've never played these, you've missed out on some of the most ambitious worlds ever built by fans. Let's get into the mods that feel like full games. If you end up liking the content, please subscribe for more, and I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and tell me what you think down below. Love to hear it. Entropy 02 is one of the greatest Half-Life experiences ever made. And the twist is that you're not Gordon Freeman. You play as a combined elite soldier, a cynical, borderline unhinged enforcer tasked with hunting down a missing rebel scientist. Instead of idealistic heroism, the game leans into the oppressive, militarized tone of the Combine. You're part of the machine now, taking orders, crushing resistance cells, interrogating prisoners, and navigating a world where morality is something you've long since thrown away. It's dark, stylish, and surprisingly character-driven, giving players a perspective Valve never explored, but that feels instantly compelling. What's shocking is how professional the game feels. New weapons, new maps, new animations, new enemies, and a story that expands Half-Life's lore without contradicting it. Set pieces are huge. Sieges, facility breaches, city assaults, and dimensional anomalies that feel like they belong in a full AAA release. Combat is tighter and more tactical than Half-Life 2, with smarter enemy placement, more aggressive AI, and set pieces that force you to think like a combined operator rather than a lone hero. The writing is sharp, often darkly funny, and your interactions with the mysterious Patient 08 give a story more emotional weight than you expect from mod. But the mod's ambitions mean the difficulty can spike hard, especially on higher settings where combined resource scarcity becomes a real problem. A few levels run a bit long, and some story beats lean heavily on Half-Life lore, which may confuse newcomers. The engine occasionally shows its age through physics hiccups or janky NPC movement during scripted sequences. But none of those flaws diminish how shockingly good the experience is. Entropy 02 isn't just a fan campaign. It's the closest thing we've ever gotten to a new official Half-Life story. It plays like a proper expansion, built with a level of polish and narrative depth that outclasses many paid releases. Arkelos isn't just a Gothic 2 mod. It's a fully realized RPG that outclasses most modern open-world releases in sheer depth, writing, and world building. The team spent years reshaping the Gothic formula into something richer, bigger, and more emotionally grounded, giving you a completely new island, new factions, hundreds of quests, and a main story that starts small and personal before spiraling into political tension and full-blown crisis. What makes it special is how lived-in everything feels. Towns aren't just quest hubs, they're social ecosystems. Every NPC has a routine, a personality, and a place in the community. Even the smallest side quest can reveal something unexpected about the island's history or the character you're playing. The world design is ridiculously handcrafted. No procedural filler, no dead space, just dense forests, hidden farmsteads, mountain passes, smuggler dens, trading posts, mines, abandoned ruins, and winding coastal paths that make exploration feel organic. Combat is still rough in that Gothic way, but the progression curve is far smoother than the base game, encouraging you to build a real identity for your character. Where this really shines is its writing, grounded, believable, and full of choice-driven consequences that actually matter. Characters remember what you've done. Factions react to your choices. The game isn't afraid to show the uglier sides of poverty, corruption, and ambition. Its only real flaws come from the age of the engine. Animation jank is unavoidable, and early game difficulty still spikes harder than some players expect. A few quests overlap in ways that can feel confusing, and the pacing slows during certain labor-heavy story chapters. But none of that stops Arkelos from being one of the greatest free RPGs ever released. It's not a mod, it's a full Gothic sequel disguised as one. Fallout London transforms Fallout 4 into an entirely new post-apocalyptic sandbox, and the shift in location alone gives it an identity the main series has never touched. Forget American patriotism and nuclear retrofuturism. This is a devastated, faction-fractured London full of Victorian ruins. Underground stations turn strongholds, aristocratic warlords, radical political movements, and militarized street gangs trying to carve out control of a city that refuses to die quietly. The tonal shift hits immediately. Weapons, accents, architecture, slang, humor. Everything feels truly British in a way Fallout never has. The map is massive and dense, with neighborhoods that feel distinct. Industrial wastelands swallowed by fog, crumbling royal estates, neon-lit dens of vice, flooded districts reclaimed by nature, and underground rail networks crawling with desperate survivors. The team created new weapons, new creatures, new animations, new UI elements, even original radio content to match the atmosphere. London isn't just an expansion, it's a reimagining of what Fallout can be when it's freed from the American identity that has defined it since 1997. But with ambition comes inevitable issues. Technical instability is the biggest one. Fallout 4's engine strains under the scale of the overhaul, and bugs can range from quirky to save-breaking depending on your load order. Voice acting quality varies. Some questlines shine, while others lose momentum in their middle chapters. And because the game pushes the engine so far beyond its intended limits, performance dips are common in the more populated districts. Still, Fallout London stands as one of the most ambitious overhaul mods ever attempted. It captures the spirit of Fallout while boldly rewriting its rules, proving that a total conversion can deliver the same impact as a new entry, and in some ways, an even fresher one. Enderall is the rare Skyrim total conversion that doesn't just feel like its own game. It actively challenges the design philosophy of the game it's built on. Using its engine as a foundation, the team constructed an entirely new world, lore, narrative, progression system, and tone that feels closer to a psychological dark fantasy RPG than a traditional Elder Scrolls experience. From the very beginning, it makes it clear this isn't about power fantasy or endless exploration for its own sake. The world of Enderall is dense and deliberate. Regions feel handcrafted rather than sprawling, filled with environmental storytelling, morally complicated side quests, and NPCs who speak like real people. The writing is the mod's strongest asset. Introspective, unsettling, and often brutally honest. Characters grapple with addiction, fanaticism, trauma, and existential dread, and the game isn't afraid to let quests end badly or without clean resolutions. The main story leans heavily into philosophical themes, questioning heroism itself and whether chosen ones are anything more than convenient myths. Mechanically, it strips away Skyrim's loose progression and replaces it with a classless system built around memory trees, skill books, and hard-earned specialization. You can't simply grind your way to godhood. Resources are scarce, enemies hit hard, and preparation matters. Combat feels harsher and more tactical, especially early on, where every fight can go wrong if you rush and unprepared. That said, it isn't flawless. It inherits some of Skyrim's engine jank, including stiff animations and occasional physics oddities. Difficulty spikes can feel unforgiving, especially for players expecting balance. Some systems are explained poorly, forcing trial and error. And the game's heavy tone won't appeal to everyone. But Enderall succeeds where few mods ever have. It's thoughtful, haunting, and deeply memorable. Niram, at Fate's Edge, is a complete total conversion built on Oblivion that laid the groundwork for everything Enderall would later perfect. But even today, this stands on its own as a massive, ambitious RPG with an identity completely separate from Oblivion. From the moment you step into its world, it's clear this isn't a familiar Elder Scrolls adventure. The tone is darker, harsher, and far more deliberate, with a focus on political collapse, religious extremism, and the consequences of unchecked power rather than open-ended heroism. The world is structured and purposeful. Regions are tightly designed, filled with hand-placed encounters, environmental storytelling, and quests that often end in morally gray outcomes. Cities feel oppressive rather than welcoming. Factions clash openly, and the narrative constantly pushes you to question whether the forces shaping the world are worth saving at all. The main story is bold and philosophical, leaning heavily into themes of destiny, free will, and the cost of divine. It also dramatically reworks mechanics. Enemy scaling is removed in favor of fixed-level zones, making exploration feel dangerous and meaningful again. Progression is slower and more deliberate, forcing you to specialize instead of becoming a jack of all trades. Combat is tougher, resources are scarcer, and careless wandering will get you killed quickly. Of course, it carries its age. Animations are stiff, facial expressions are limited, and some quests show their rough edges in pacing or scripting. Voice acting quality varies wildly, and the interface can feel dated even by Oblivion standards. Difficulty spikes can be punishing for new players, especially early on, and the game does little hand-holding to ease you into its systems. Despite that, Nirim remains one of the most important and impressive total conversions ever made. A standalone experience that still holds weight today and a crucial chapter in the evolution of story-driven RPG modding. Wolfenstein Blade of Agony is one of the most ambitious Doom Engine projects ever attempted. A true, full-length Wolfenstein campaign that feels like a lost World War II FPS from an alternate timeline. Instead of simple, maze-like levels and non-stop run-and-gun action, Blade of Agony mixes classic shooting with scripted missions, stealth sections, vehicle sequences, cinematic storytelling, environmental puzzles, and sprawling hub areas that feel closer to Return to Castle Wolfenstein or even Medal of Honor. The devs rebuilt everything, giving it a completely original identity that only hints at its Doom roots. You infiltrate Nazi facilities, sabotage submarine bases, sneak through snowy outposts, raid desert fortresses, storm bunkers, rescue prisoners, and uncover occult secrets woven into the Wolfenstein mythos. Missions aren't just shoot everything and leave. You're retrieving intel, planting charges, stealing uniforms, cracking safes, traversing huge levels built with a level of detail most GZ Doom projects never attempt. The arsenal feels weighty and grounded, with bolt-action rifles, SMGs, grenades, and prototype weapons that strike a balance between realism and pulp fantasy. Its story tries to blend emotional beats, big set pieces, and comic book-style villainy. And while it doesn't always land perfectly, it's far more ambitious than what you expect from a mod. But that ambition comes with drawbacks. Some missions run too long, stretching past the point where the pacing stays tight. Stealth segments can be finicky due to the engine's limitations, and certain scripted events break if you're not standing exactly where the game expects. Performance occasionally dips in heavy areas, and design sees identity conflicts. Still, Blade of Agony stands as a landmark. It's not a mod slapped onto Doom. It's a fully built FPS powered by pure passion, and for retro shooter fans, it delivers an experience that feels truly unique in the modern scene. Prophesy of Pinder takes Mount in Blade Warband and transforms it into a brutal, low-fantasy wargame with enough depth to make the base game feel almost simple by comparison. Instead of the familiar Colradian factions, you're thrown into the torn, war-scarred land of Pinder, a place where knightly orders, rogue warbands, tribal confederations, slaver armies, and demonic invaders collide in a constant arms race for dominance. Every decision matters more here. Recruiting troops means choosing between wildly different cultures with unique skill curves. Joining factions isn't just roleplay. It can completely define the trajectory of your campaign. And the mod gives you tools to build an empire from scratch, appoint vassals, command massive armies, and rise from nobody to legend in a world that absolutely does not care if you survive. Pinder's biggest strength is its sense of identity. The lore is deep, well-written, and woven into every corner of the map, from the knightly orders you can join, to the mysterious Nolder who can either slaughter you for sport or become invaluable allies if you earn their impossible respect. Battles are larger, deadlier, and more tactical than in Warband. Troop trees are more complex. Enemy factions feel genuinely dangerous, especially late-game threats like the Jatu or the demonic army invasions that can wipe entire kingdoms off the map if left unchecked. That ambition does mean Pinder can be punishing. The early game is notoriously harsh, and new players often get crushed repeatedly before finding their footing. Some battles are so large, they push Warband's ancient engine to its breaking point, leading to occasional stutters or slowdowns. Diplomacy can feel opaque, and certain late-game grinds, like chasing down endless raiding parties, can test your patience. But these aren't flaws as much as they are part of Pinder's identity, a war-torn world that demands you earn every inch of progress. Stalker Anomaly isn't just a mod. It's the definitive way to experience the zone. Built as a standalone, engine refactored overhaul, it takes pieces from all three main games and rebuilds them into one massive, open-ended sandbox. No campaign rails, no old engine limitations, no need for the original games. Just you, the zone, and every possible way to survive or die in it. It captures everything that made Stalker iconic. The eerie silence, the sudden gunfights, the deadly anomalies, the grueling scavenging loop, but smooths it into a coherent experience that finally feels modern. You choose your faction, your starting location, your playstyle, and your personal goals. Maybe you're a loner hunting artifacts in radioactive ruins. Maybe you're a duty soldier fighting mutants in the Rostock outskirts. Maybe you're a bandit ambushing stalkers for scraps. The game doesn't guide you. It lets you carve out your own story inside a world that feels alive with dynamic wars, mutant migrations, nighttime patrols, faction conflicts, and unpredictable emissions that force every living thing to scatter for cover. The freedom is unmatched, but so is the difficulty. The economy is brutal. Weapons degrade fast. Ammo is precious. A single bad firefight can set you back hours. And the zone's atmosphere, oppressive, lonely, and indifferent, can wear you down if you're not wired for that kind of survival experience. On the technical side, Anomaly is far more stable than the original trilogy, but its forked engine still has quirks, occasional stutters, rare AI bugs, and the occasional physics hiccup. Some newcomers find the lack of a guided main story disorienting, and a sheer volume of mechanics can overwhelm first-time players. But for fans of immersive survival shooters, Anomaly is a masterpiece, a full, standalone successor built by the community that understands the zone better than anyone. It feels like a real, complete game, because at this point, it basically is one